Hey everybody, David here, and today I want to do a top 10 list for my 10 favorite Spider-Man live action movie villains. That's right, I did this list maybe a couple years back before Spider-Man Homecoming was coming out, and I thought it was time for an updated list. And I am going to include two characters here that are not necessarily Spider Man movie villains, but because they are villains of Spider Man in the comics and animated shows, I am going to add them onto this list. Also, another rule that I'm doing for myself is I'm not going to double up characters. So, for an example, James Franco and Dane DeHaan wouldn't be on this list together. I would only pick one of them who I thought was the best Green Goblin, Harry Osborn character. So let's get right into it right now. I'm really excited because I'm nervous because I don't know how you guys will feel about this. Most of the time, you guys are cool, though. My regular subscribers are very cool people. They never complain with my list. They like to add their own opinion, and that's great. That's what I want to hear. I want to know what other people's lists or opinions are on some of these choices. So let me get right started. Don't forget to write down your list in the comment section below. I love seeing people's lists. I look at lists all the time to see what people think about certain movies or characters, etc. So leave down your list in the comment section below. Here I go with my list. Starting with number 10, I have Eddie Brock Venom, played by Topher Grace. The reason I don't have Tom Hardy here is because Tom Hardy isn't really a villain. He's the anti-hero. So because if Tom Hardy was on this list, I'll tell you now, he would be a lot more higher than number 10. Topher Grace, he was the best choice to put over at number 10 because I'm going to tell you now, the Rhino wasn't going to make this list. So there you go. At number 9, I have Max Dillon, aka Electro, played by Jamie Foxx in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yeah, Electro, I don't mind him as much. I get it, the beginning where he's like an Edward Nygma type of character is kind of goofy. But when he turns blue, I actually enjoy it. I know a lot of people didn't like him as blue for some reason, but and Jamie Foxx himself recently has been saying, yeah, don't worry, guys, the blue is gone. But I'm like, yeah, but I liked you in the blue. But I can't wait to see his new look in Spider-Man No Way Home this weekend. So I'm really looking forward to that. At number 8, I have Harry Osborn, the Green Goblin, number 2, played by Dane DeHaan. I was conflicted with this one because I really like James Franco as Harry Osborn as well. And I think he had a beautiful arc in the original Sam Raimi trilogy. But Dane DeHaan felt more villainous to me, and he was creepy. And I remember some critics saying that Dane DeHaan felt like he was out of place in this movie. I don't know, guys. I thought he was great in the movie, especially when he becomes the Green Goblin and his deformed look was giving off like a creepy, psychotic vibe. I was enjoying it all. So, but that's fine. Not everybody needs to like the same thing. So let's move on to number 7. At number 7, I put Cletus Cassidy, aka Carnage, played by Woody Harrelson. This is one of those choices. He wasn't in a Spider-Man movie, but the character of Carnage is a Spider-Man villain in the comics and cartoons that I grew up watching. And yeah, Woody Harrelson's performance is a lot of fun to watch, especially his back and forth with Venom when they finally come head to head with each other. Carnage was great. I'm kind of sad they killed him off spoiler alert, they killed him off at the end of Venom Let There Be Carnage, because I thought, man, why would you kill him off? You could use him again in future installments if you ever wanted to. Maybe they'll find a way, who knows? But yeah, I was kind of disappointed that they killed him off at the end. Next up is Norman Osborn, the original Green Goblin. And yes, of course, I have to go with William Dafoe. Why? Because Chris Cooper really didn't do much in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Chris Cooper was playing Norman Osborn in the second Amazing Spider-Man. And yeah, he dies quickly off the end. I don't know if they were ever thinking of bringing him back, but I thought William Dafoe is easily the best choice from here. He's so much fun to watch. I actually went back to watch all the Spider-Man movies. I still have two more movies to watch, and yeah, he's chewing up the scenery, and I love it. I love every minute that he's on. And when you hear his voice in the newest trailer, it's like, oh yeah, man, this is gonna be awesome. Moving on to number 5, I have Adrian Toomes, the Vulture, played by Michael Keaton, who, yes, I thought Michael Keaton was great. I felt this was like the beginning of his comeback career. You know, Michael Keaton was quiet for a long time after Batman Returns. And then all of a sudden, he's popping up in the Spider-Man. He's coming back as Batman. He was great in The Founder. If you haven't watched Dope Sick on Hulu or Disney Plus in Canada, Dope Sick is a great series. I'm really loving that show. So I'm really loving seeing this Michael Keaton comeback. I think he was in Trial of the Chicago 7 too. It was a smaller role, but it was still great seeing him in that movie because that movie was great also. Yeah, Michael Keaton, man. And when he starts realizing at the end, because I was watching this movie earlier this week, when he starts realizing who Spider-Man is and he's in the car with his daughter and Peter, it's like such a great revelation for him, and the way you could see him reading on his face what he's thinking and how he's putting it all together. It's amazing. And yeah, he was a great villain, man. I can't wait to see him again. I know he's popping up in the Morbius film in January, so that's going to be great to see him there. What's he going to be doing? Maybe he's going to pop up in something else as well, because funny enough, on Jimmy Kimmel a few weeks ago, he was saying, oh yeah, I'm going to be doing some reshoots for some Vulture stuff. And, you know, the only movie that we know that's doing reshoots right now is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So let's see what happens. Next up is Dr. Kirk Connors, a.k.a. The Lizard, played by Rhys Ifans. Yeah, I think The Lizard is an underrated villain. I don't know. I don't hear people talk about this character enough. Dr. Connors obviously was in the Sam Raimi trilogy as well, in Spider-Man 2 and 3, as a supporting character, but this is the one where he is portrayed differently, where he is portrayed to be the guy who wants to cure himself, and because of that, the Lizard takes over his mind. Kind of like an Incredible Hulk situation, but unlike the Hulk, who does fight for good, the Lizard is a crazed villain that wants to turn people into lizards as well. And I love that first Amazing Spider-Man. I thought the casting was great in that movie, and Rhys Ifans does a fantastic job as both Kirk Connors and the Lizard, because you feel for Kirk Connors and then you're terrified a little bit of the Lizard. So great performance. Number 3, who do I have at number 3? Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, played by Vincent D'Onofrio. Yes, this is the second choice that I picked. The character hasn't appeared in a Spider-Man movie, but he is a Spider-Man villain in the comics and in the animated shows. When I think of the animated shows, I'm more thinking of the 1994 animated Spider-Man, the animated series, which you can see on Disney Plus. Yeah, Kingpin is a great foil. He's like the Lex Luthor of the MCU, but unlike Lex Luthor, Kingpin doesn't need a green metal suit to fight his adversaries. He has taken on Spider-Man and Daredevil many times in the past. We've seen how threatening he is in the Daredevil series, even in the Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck, where he was portrayed by Michael Clark Duncan, who did a great job there too. I remember always wanted to see Kingpin fight Tobey Maguire. I thought Michael Clark Duncan's Kingpin versus Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. I thought at the time that would have been so cool to see. They kind of did it. If anybody remembers, MTV did an animated Spider-Man series that lasted one season, which was in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man universe-ish. And Michael Clark Duncan did return to voice the character in this animated series. It was like a CG 2D hybrid animated series, and yeah, Michael Clark Duncan guest starred on one episode where the Kingpin does briefly confront Spider-Man, which was really cool. So I just wish we could have got that in live action. But either way, let's go on to number two. Number two, I have Quentin Beck, aka Mysterio, played by Jake Gyllenhaal. I'm gonna be serious. These two were the toughest one. My number one and my number two were the toughest one to decide. But it breaks my heart. I had to put one of them at number two, so I went with Mysterio. Mysterio is a great villain, and I always wanted him ever since Spider-Man 3. I thought he should be a villain because his powers would be really cool to see on the big screen. And I was so right because the MCU did him in a fun and creative way. I love that they used the mocap suit. I love that they used the technology from Civil War that they set up there as the technology that he uses to, create these fake illusions. Yeah, it was a great villain, and I thought that's why I actually like Spider-Man Far From Home a lot. I think they really utilize that character in a really fun, interesting way, and also because I just like the story in Spider-Man Far From Home a lot better than Homecoming. I like Homecoming a lot also, don't get me wrong, but if I had to pick between the two, Far From Home would be next. Finally, my number one. If you haven't guessed it already, I don't know what's wrong with you. Dr. Octopus, Dr. Otto Octavius, played by Alfred Molina, brilliantly played by him. Yes, Dr. Ock, or Doc Ock, as we should call him. What a great villain, man. I remember when Spider-Man 2 came out. I love that movie all the way through. The story, the villain, all the characters were great, right? And Alfred Molina was one of those highlights in that film. Because you actually did feel bad for him, and you knew that those mechanical arms were kind of taking control of him, and you wanted him to snap out of it. And thankfully, he gets a really good ending by the end of it by sacrificing himself. Spoiler alert for a movie that came out in 2004. But yeah, it was such a great arc for that character. He is the villain I am looking forward to the most in Spider-Man No Way Home. Seeing what his role throughout the movie actually is. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be fun to see all these villains return. A lot of them return in this next upcoming movie. And I don't know, guys, tell me what you think. Do you think Doc Ock is the best Spider-Man movie villain so far, or do you think some of these other villains are better? And yes, throw in Carnage, throw in Kingpin. What was the villain's name in the first Venom movie? I forgot what that character's name is, but anyways, throw in any character you like. You know, I was struggling whether to put the Shocker in the top 10. He would probably make it at number 10, if anything, because he really didn't have much to do in the movies. Matt Gargan didn't really become the Scorpion. I know he was in Spider-Man Homecoming. So it's like some villains were harder to try to justify. That's why Topher Grace made it to the bottom, or else I would have probably put a better villain there. But Rhino was easily one of the worst. So there you go, guys. That's my list. Like I said before, put your list in the comment section below. I always enjoy seeing people's lists. And Spider-Man No Way Home comes out today, actually. Today is the afternoon showings, and then tomorrow it's out officially for everybody to go and see. I'm tempted to go see it tomorrow, but I have tickets for Saturday, so my review will come out on Saturday or Sunday, most likely. I'll probably just skip the non-spoiler review and just go straight to doing a spoiler review all around, since my review is coming late anyways, so I might as well, right? All these other reviews are out there, so it's already too late for me to kind of do a non-spoiler review by Saturday, so I might as well just do a spoiler review for Saturday night or Sunday morning. So we'll see. With that being said, guys, please like this video, subscribe to my channel if you are a new viewer, and with that being said, until next time, everybody, take care.